Truth.
Good morning, brothers and sisters in Christ. David Fiorazo with Mary Danielsen. There's a new book out that we want to tell you about today. It's called The Great Patriot Boycott Book. Not boycott, but boycott. The great conservative companies to buy from and invest in, and that's how we're going to make a difference. We vote with our dollar, with our pocketbooks, with our wallets, with our purses, and with our credit cards and whatever else. I can't wait to get into these topics today. We've got a very special guest, Wayne Allyn Root. He's a CEO, author, reality TV show producer, and former presidential candidate. He's been referred to as the conservative warrior, the capitalist evangelist, and the author of 15 books. His latest and the number one bestseller, which we'll talk a little bit about, is The Great Patriot Boycott Book. He also hosts America's Top 10 Countdown with Wayne Allyn Root on Real America's Voice TV network, and Wayne Allyn Root, Raw and Unfiltered. Had a chance to listen to some of that in the last couple days. That's streamed daily on Lindell TV at frankspeech.com. He was inducted into the Nevada Broadcasters Hall of Fame last year. Hosts the nationally syndicated Wayne Allyn Root, Raw and Unscripted on USA Radio Network. And a little bit of his background: he was born into a blue-collar Jewish family. 33 years ago, he received Jesus Christ as Savior, and this unique religious and spiritual combination of Judaism and Christianity and Wayne's love of Israel led him to call President Trump the greatest president in world history for the Jewish people and Israel. Finally, he was honored in 2006 with a 180-pound granite star on the Las Vegas Walk of Stars. He lives in Vegas with his wife Cindy and 4 children. Wayne Allyn Root, it's a blessing to have you on the podcast. Good morning, sir.
Hey, David, Mary, how are you? Great to be on with you.
We're doing very, very well. Thank you so much for your time. Let's talk about the book immediately. Why hasn't this caught on? Why haven't more people of faith, Christians, conservatives, independents, Republicans, supported these certain companies that would actually help us divide from those who just don't support our values?
Well, look, I never blame anyone. I think it's really just a matter of the fact that most people are so busy working for a living and taking care of their family and, trying to survive on a daily basis. The onslaught from government. Government is so hateful to us all over the world, but especially here in the United States under Joe Biden. Biden is destroying the middle class of this country and destroying the middle class quality of life and lifestyle and making it harder to survive every day. So the average person has to work 2 jobs, 3 jobs, and then, by the way, Biden takes credit. Oh, there were a lot of new jobs last month. That's because people used to work 1 job,
right,
and they had a nice life, and now they have to work 3 jobs, and their wife has to work 2. Right. So together there's 4, 5, 6 jobs in a household to try and do what 1 job used to do. That's the reason that most people don't have time to worry about all the little things and all the distractions going on in the world. Little distractions like World War II is coming, the border's wide open, green energy is bankrupting us all. Little things like that. Most people, no, I'm just kidding, of course. Most people aren't noticing the big things going on because they have so many distractions. They're just trying to make a living. But I wrote the Great Patriot Boycott Book to kind of educate them, A, what was going on, B, motivate them, that's probably what I do best, and C, to give them a list of the 123 best companies in America that are pro-faith in America, pro-faith in God, Christian, conservative, patriotic companies that you could be proud to spend your money with and know, hopefully that all or most of your money that you give them when you buy something from them isn't going to destroy your life. And so I want to get away from the bad guys, and I want to defund the bad guys, and I want to reward the good guys.
Amen. We agree.
I have a question for you here. Why are corporations so susceptible to lefty politics? I mean, if I go to Bed Bath and bankruptcy, I want a bath mat, all right? I don't care about the politics behind the bath mat. And when the NFL did this whole thing with Kaepernick and all that, they don't understand their audience.
That's right.
They don't understand what you were talking about with families working 4, 5, 6 jobs. Why are corporations doing this? Why are they allowing themselves to be bullied? Is that it?
Well, look, there are a lot of really liberal, shockingly liberal, those are corporations. That includes board of directors. So on some level, a lot of them really are, crazy. On another level, and radical and extreme. On another level, they're just Kool-Aid drinkers. They've been brainwashed because everybody they hang around says the same kind of things. And so they start to believe that everyone believes that, when in reality, the silent majority, which is mostly made up of, good, solid, go-to-church Christians and middle-class people all over the United States, the silent majority doesn't agree with those views, but they hang out at country clubs where everybody does. To some extent, they're radical and extreme. To some extent, they're a little bit crazy. To some extent, they've been brainwashed, and they're Stepford wives, and they're drinking the Kool-Aid. But I think in the majority of cases, liberals are smarter than conservatives, meaning we're so busy raising our families and running our businesses and going to church on Sunday morning, all good things, all great things, but we're distracted. And liberals, in many cases, I can't say all to generality, but in general, the average conservative has a business or works in a career and has kids and has a spouse and has 2 dogs, and they're busy. Especially with their kids. And the average liberal is like living this selfish life. They're living in some big city. They don't have a wife or a girlfriend. They have no kids. They have no dog. And the only thing they have to do all day is dial the phone and call their congressman. So we're not doing what needs to be done to call our congressman. It's call the corporation and let the CEO's office know that we disagree with their policy. Liberals do. As the gay movement says, they're loud and proud. And we sit around working all day, take care of our family, but we're not helping our own cause by making our views known. So I keep arguing we have to be loud and proud, just like the gay movement. Conservatives and Christians have to be loud and proud and aggressive and in your face, just like vicious liberals are. We're too nice. There's another answer for it. We're too nice, and we turn the other cheek. I may have taken Christ as my Savior, but I think the worst thing I've ever heard is preached is to turn the other cheek. No, you can't turn the other cheek, because when you turn it, it's because they hit you on the right side. Now you turn it, now they're going to punch you on the left side. You can't turn the other cheek. You have to fight back. Christians are too nice. American silent majority is too nice. We have to hit them back. We have to be vicious, and that's why, I'm a big Donald Trump guy. When they say, oh, he's nasty, he has nasty tweets. You know what Trump's problem was? He was too nice. Trump should have been much more vicious. Trump's tweets were vicious, but when he got to Washington, he should have fired everyone and started all over again, and he should have put all the really bad guys at the top in prison. He should have indicted and prosecuted all of them. He didn't do any of that. It turns out Trump was way too nice. And so I'd like to teach all of us, Trump included, Christians go to church included, that it's time to fight back and play a little dirty and outdo whatever the Democrats do it worse than them. We got to get better at those exact same playbook things. So just stop being so nice and stop concentrating on your kids and your dog and set aside 20 minutes a day to call corporations and call your congressman and let them know how you feel, so they know that the majority of their customers disagree with what this tiny minority is convincing them to do.
That's right. And they always seem to have a better ground game. And because we're too nice and because we tend to be in the silent majority, look what's happening in the public schools. Look what they're unleashing on America's children. And we don't have time to go down that road. But I want to go back to the point from your book, the Great Patriot Boycott book, Money Talks, Wayne Allyn Root. And for the first time in history, we just witnessed a beer commit suicide. Let's talk about Bud Light. And what do you think is going to happen? Anheuser-Busch is a huge company. Are they going to learn anything? I know they're losing a lot of money right now, but you wrote a great article on that. Tell us your thoughts.
Well, it pushes a few things to mind. So the book's called The Great Patriot Boycott Book, and I wanted to, before I even answer your question, I want to throw out something I'm really proud of, because Saturday night, this is today is a Thursday as we record this, and or say we do it live, but a lot of people will hear it on your podcast, a day from now or 2 days from now or 2 weeks from now. So I want people to know, just less than a week ago, I was in Florida to give a speech, and I was at Mar-a-Lago, Trump's home and Trump's club, on Saturday night, and I had a chance to spend some time with President Trump, and I also got an endorsement for my book from President Trump. And the next morning, he tweeted out how much he loves my book, and he loves my strategy that we should defund the left and defund companies like Budweiser and Anheuser-Busch, the parent company, and how we should fund the good guys. So it's not just me now saying it's a great book and it's a great strategy. The Great Patriot Boycott book was in fact, endorsed by President Donald J. Trump on Sunday morning just a few days ago after I'd met him on Saturday night. He got so excited by my strategy, he tweeted out to the whole world, this is the way to beat the bad guys. So it's a great thing. And I also want to report to everybody, the average person doesn't have a chance to spend time with President Trump. He looked great. He looked handsome, tan, rested, good spirits. His mind is fabulous. Unlike Joe Biden, who couldn't figure out, what the difference between his wife and his sister. My friend, President Donald J. Trump, is 76 years old, and his mind is as good as when he was 46 years old.
Yeah,
he's incredible.
Sharp.
He was in a crowd at Mar-a-Lago. He was having dinner with Mike Tyson and his wife and his son Barron. And I walked in, and there were people around him, and everybody wanted to grab his hand, and everybody wanted to talk to him. And he had just gotten back from Scotland that morning.
Wow.
And he was, of course, in his mind, I'm sure he's stressed out about everything happening with all the potential indictments and the indictment that already happened in New York. And he's running for president of the United States, and he had a CNN town hall coming up. All of that is on his mind, and he looks at me across the room and yells out, "Hey, don't you have a speech this weekend?" And I did. How did he know that?
Yeah, exactly.
How did he know I was in Florida for a speech? He's amazing.
Hey,
he's
so
amazing. And then
Wayne,
I just gotta tell you, he's amazing.
Wasn't your book number one even before Trump endorsed it?
Yeah, it's been out for about 6 weeks now. It's been number one in like 20 categories, and
Well,
then
that'll help.
And then it finally had settled down for a week at like number 2 and number 3 and number 4 and number 5 in every category, and then Trump endorsed it and went back to number 1 in every category. So it's been a great run.
Yeah.
And by the way, it infuriated the left when he endorsed my book and my strategy. So literally the day after he endorsed it and tweeted it out, there were articles, I think over hundreds of articles all over the United States and all over the globe, even in the UK Daily Mail and other British newspapers, about Trump endorsing Wayne Root's strategy to defund leftist woke corporations. They all got so annoyed that Trump endorsed my book, and in the first line of every article was Trump endorsed Wayne Root's strategy in his new book, The Great Patriot Boycott Book. So it was a great week again, as usual, and I had a chance to actually spend some time and see up close and personal that Trump looks fantastic despite everything they're doing to him, which is a sign that you can't keep Trump down. You just can't, which is great.
It's amazing.
So to circle back and answer your question quickly, yes, they're self-destructing. Bud Light is self-destructing. It's spread to all of Anheuser-Busch's beers. They're all way down. And self-destructing even more than Bud, and even more than Bed Bath and Beyond.
Fox News.
Fox News Channel. Terrible.
Yep.
Just makes no sense what these people do. The decisions are crazy.
Yeah.
But, of course, they hang in circles where they think that these are normal decisions that won't hurt them, and then they get a dose of reality and a slap in the face from conservatives. So we're doing a good job. Fox News had 3.5 million viewers in Tucker's time slot, and now they've got 1.2 million viewers in Tucker's time slot. So I think all that proves is there's still 1.2 million misinformed conservatives. It should be zero.
Yeah.
That's right. So, Wayne, we also have your article on is Fox News the next Bed Bath & Beyond? And we all saw Tucker Carlson sign off on Friday, and he didn't say goodbye, like this will be my last show. The next following Sunday or Monday, he was gone. And, it doesn't seem like it makes sense because, again, they don't seem to know their audience, do they?
No, either they don't know it or they don't care. How about that one?
You're right.
I've said that for years about the politicians. It's shocking that Fox News thinks that way, but I've said it about the politicians. It's obvious that the silent majority backs conservative views and Judeo-Christian values and American exceptionalism and capitalism. Those are all the things that it's obvious that that silent majority believes in, and I think most voters believe in. But Democrats could not care less. It's like they're whistling past the graveyard. It's like they want to lose, but yet they keep winning. The news media is fraudulent, and the FBI is fraudulent. They're paying the media and social media to lie about the news and change the news feed so that every day you see negative about Trump and positive about Biden and Democrat policies that are failing. They don't tell you that jobs are horrible. They tell you jobs are great. Why? Because I said a few minutes ago, for every one person, you need 3 jobs now. So, of course, it looks like there's a lot of jobs. The reality is they're all crappy jobs with low pay that don't even give you health insurance, by the way, ironically. So, everything is a lie. Everything is gaslighting.
And also you talk about in this article Rupert Murdoch and his spoiled brat children who live in Europe, apparently, and Paul Ryan.
Yeah.
So, because Wisconsinites are touchy about Paul Ryan because he's one of our homeboys, and he became a Rhino. We loved him at first.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, a switch got flipped, and we went, who is that person?
Yeah, who is
So
that?
are they actually are these European Murdochs relying on Paul Ryan to tell them what conservatives want to hear on Fox?
Yeah, well, he's on the board of directors of Fox News, or the parent company runs Fox News, and he's helping to make a lot of the decisions at Fox News. And people have to understand that A, Paul Ryan's a rhino, and B, Paul Ryan's a globalist, and C, Paul Ryan hates Trump with such a passion. It's amazing to me. I meet a lot of people who seem like they're Republicans. They got an R after their name. They served in office for years. Perhaps they're still in office. I meet all these people, and now they're important people. If they're not in office anymore, they run corporations. And I think, wow, they're a big conservative. They're a big Republican. And then you actually talk to them at a party for 5 minutes, and by the end of the 5 minutes, you realize this person is not a conservative at all.
Yep. Yeah.
This person is a liar.
Yes.
This person is a fraud. He doesn't, or she doesn't believe in the things I believe in, yet they claim they're a big Republican, and they have the proof on their resume that they were a congressman for 15 years. They're liars. Paul Ryan is a liar. He is not a conservative. There isn't anything about him that's conservative. He doesn't stand for any of the same issues I do. If you ask Paul Ryan, the biggest issue in America is not rigged elections. It's not vaccines. It's not, all the money that went to Ukraine that's being wasted and stolen in Ukraine by corrupt politicians, the most corrupt country in the world. If you ask Paul Ryan, the biggest issue in America isn't the United States Navy recruiting with drag queens.
Boy.
He'd say those are not the most important issues. I say those are the most important issues. Him and I don't agree on anything. So he might as well just change to Democrat, because him and I aren't in the same party anymore.
Right.
There's your issue. They don't believe the same things we do, and maybe either they have to leave or we have to form our own party, and we can't call ourselves Republicans anymore. But I could tell you one thing: the people who run the Republican Party are not the same as me and you.
That's right.
Mitch McConnell isn't the same as me and you. Paul Ryan isn't. Mitt Romney isn't. How about even Kevin McCarthy? He's better than that few I mentioned, but he's not much better. He's not the same as you and I. Rhoda McDaniel, who runs the Republican National Committee, is not the same as you and I. She's not on my team. So we got people fighting for us and on our behalf that are not like us in any way, shape, or form. That's the problem. Communists on the left and a bunch of cowards on the right, or bought out, bribed people on the right who are owned by China and owned by corporations. So there's no one really fighting for you and I. That's why I wrote the Great Patriot Boycott book, so you could know who the good guys are, and you could spend your money with them, and we could put the bad guys out of business.
Amen. You can get the book, by the way, friends, on Amazon, or you can go to Wayne's website, rootforamerica.com. Wayne, it seems like they're sabotaging the military on purpose. They're weakening the military, but also look at our southern border. You wrote an article on your website, Title 42 ends, and you say, get ready to witness the fall of Saigon. And we've seen pictures, we've seen videos of masses of people heading toward America, toward our southern border. Share your biggest concerns about this.
Well, look, I'm not a Johnny-come-lately to this. First of all, I've been complaining about the open border for about 25 years now. And second of all, I complained about it from the moment Biden got in office. And third of all, I mentioned back in March, which now seems like a lifetime ago, back in March, 60 days ago, plus I said that Biden has scammed the Supreme Court and scammed the United States, because the Supreme Court had taken up the case of Title 42, which prevents people from coming into the country. They have to wait on the other side until they have their hearing, and the hearing might take 3 years, and most of them will just go home. They're not going to wait 3 years in the desert of Mexico in a tent. And so many of them will go home, and the ones who stay and wait for the hearing, most hearings will deny them entry to the United States. So therefore, they have to go home. You can't let them come into the United States while they wait for their hearing, because during the 3 years that they're waiting for their hearing, they disappear and no one ever sees them again, and they stay in America forever.
That's right.
So Title 42 was so important. It was a Trump policy, and it was tied. He found a way to tie the COVID pandemic to stopping this flow of people coming into the United States, and we had shut it down to nothing. And then Biden comes along and he says, let everybody in, and we got to end Title 42. And the Supreme Court says, okay, I'll take the case and let's see what we decide. And they were obviously going to decide that a country has a right to protect its own border. Supreme Court is 6-3 in favor of conservatives. Theoretically, John Roberts, not really a conservative,
right,
but at worst it's 5-4.
Yep.
We would have won that case, but Biden scammed the Supreme Court, and Republicans said nothing. Biden woke up one day, and the people behind him, Obama and company, must have said, here's how we get it away from the Supreme Court. They can't rule on it if it doesn't exist anymore, so let's just get rid of the COVID emergency rules that gave the president gigantic new powers, and along with it, part of that was Title 42. And if we end those COVID emergency rules and we don't have that power anymore, then Title 42 automatically goes away, and there's nothing for the Supreme Court to rule on because it doesn't exist anymore, and that's what they did. And the Supreme Court said, oh, okay, we'll drop the case because there's nothing to rule on anymore. And now, this week, this Thursday, depending on when you're listening to this podcast, sometime right now,
today,
it's ending, and you're going to see scenes you never, ever imagined in your lifetime that you'd see in the United States. It's going to look like the fall of Saigon. You're talking about a couple of thousand border agents and 1,500 troops trying to control 1 million people racing across the border over the next few days. It's going to be a horrendous scene. It's going to mean really the end of the United States, or certainly the beginning of the end of the United States. It's an all-out free-for-all now, a race for all the people all around the world who are criminals and welfare addicts and people who want to drop a baby on American soil, and that's no big deal either, right? Except it costs, $30,000 to have a baby in the hospital with your health insurance. So when all these pregnant women race across the border to have a baby, multiply that times 30,000 each, and that alone makes the country go bankrupt. Not to mention, around their belly they're strapped with fentanyl. They're drug mules.
Yeah.
The whole world is going to come across that border. They're going to bring all the drugs of the world, all the illness of the world, all the disease of the world, all the pandemics of the world, all the crime of the world, all the welfare needed of the world. All of it is coming across America's border. And the first million in the next week is going to be nothing compared to the millions and millions that follow them. And all of this is because of this was a plan from day one by Democrats to destroy the United States of America, and unfortunately they seem to have succeeded.
Yes, it's the Cloward-Piven strategy to just overload the system, overwhelm the system. And you say in the article, this dereliction of duty, it's a failure to execute the laws of the U.S. to protect American citizens, and it's the worst corruption in history. So we understand that in our listening audience here, Stand Up for the Truth, Wayne Allyn Root. Now, what can we do about at least fighting back, pushing back, calling the congressman, contacting our senators? What can we do knowing this is going on at our southern border and knowing their corporations are going woke?
Well, look, I come up with new ideas all the time. In the last 10 years, I've had so many
Not
ideas.
surprising.
Many of them were adopted by President Trump, by the way. Like at one point, I put out a column, and I made sure it got in Trump's hands. One of my buddies is best friends with Trump. I don't have his phone number to just call him on a moment's notice. I see him once in a while, and I open speeches for him, and I see him backstage. But one of my buddies is, got him on speed dial, and he gets a lot of my columns into Trump's hands. And I said, at the time, Congress would not allow the funds to build the wall. And I said, just go over Congress's head, declare a national emergency, and then when you have a national emergency, you can use the money from any agency, including the Pentagon, to build the wall.
Wow.
You don't need Congress, right? And I gave him that idea, and the next day he was announcing it to the whole country. I'm going to declare a national emergency.
That's awesome.
And I'm going to use the Pentagon money to build the wall. So, I've had a lot of great ideas over the years. I gave a speech in Florida last week. That's when I had a chance to stop by and see Trump in Mar-a-Lago. And my speech was to 1,200 fans of Club 47, which is the biggest Trump fan club in the world. And they said, what do we do? And I said, you know what the key to saving America is? We should be using lie detector tests to save America. And the crowd gave me a standing ovation. I said, do you know that Navy SEALs have to take lie detector tests like 5-6 times a year to make sure they've never told a single secret to their own wife or their own parents where they were, what they did, and they get kicked out of the Navy if it shows any lies. Why don't we give politicians lie detector tests? Are you taking funds offshore from the Mexican drug cartels to keep the border open? These are the questions we need to ask aspiring politicians and also the ones already in office. And if it's good enough for the Navy SEALs, it should be good enough for every politician and every elected official and every appointed agency head in America. And if you ask them those questions, guys, I guarantee you'll get answers that will shock you. They've all got offshore accounts. They're all on the take. They all accept bribes. They're all owned by China. They're all owned by the Mexican drug cartel. So, we need lie detector tests to save America. But again, my ideas are common sense. Will they ever happen? No, because the people who could implement them would be caught by the lie detector test and go to prison and lose their jobs. So nobody's ever going to want to do it.
Gosh.
Wow.
I wish we had more time, but I know you have to get going. Wayne Allyn Root, rootforamerica.com, the Great Patriot Boycott book. Thanks for your time this morning, sir. God bless you.
Thank you.
That was just a small segment of Stand Up for the Truth on the Q90FM YouTube channel. To listen live, go to Q90FM.com/listen at 9 a.m. Central Time every day, or to listen to a full podcast without listening live, go to StandUpForTheTruth.com. And please consider subscribing to the Q90FM YouTube channel for more.